at Birthing for Blokes, video number 2. Since the last video, I've had lots of nice feedback asking me to do them, and I'm really grateful. I'm determined to keep them under 5 minutes, and I'm not going to edit them. So how they come out is how they come out. I was asked by a few people to give you a little bit of a rundown of my background, and it's, 51 years. There's a lot of it in 5 minutes, but I'll give you the praised version. I have 5 sisters and 3 brothers. Within my family, in terms of occupations, I have a sister who's a midwife in New Zealand, and she's a nurse as well, and a sister in Bedfordshire who's a nurse. So we caring stock, although I do point out that I was the first, but there you go. As a young boy, I didn't do well at school and got kicked out for being disruptive. And then later on in life, started to read a lot and decided that I had a kind of an existential crisis, if you like. I wanted my life to make a difference. At the time, I was working in a hardware shop and, nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't enough for me. So I did the General Nurse Council test, which you could do back then, but you can't anymore, and passed. I passed it at a level which meant I could do RGN training, registered general nurse training, rather than SEN, which state enrolled nurse back then. So I qualified as a nurse in 91, I think. And nursing was cool. I enjoyed nursing. The physical care aspect was what I was in the job for. And as I became a qualified nurse, suddenly I was being pulled away from being with people. And my mate, a chap called Dave Smith, was the first ever male midwife in Warwickshire. And he encouraged me to try it out. And I did, and got thoroughly hooked. My early midwifery career, of course, back then, out of 36,000 midwives, there was 61 of us. And I worked very early on and established a lifelong relationship with Dennis Wall. She's been one of my best friends for the last 20 odd years. So early on in my midwifery career, I was lucky enough to work on a changing childbirth continuity program called BUMPS. I think it was the Wistow project by the time I got onto it. And that enabled me to work in a caseload bearing model where a woman would book with you, you would offer continuity of care throughout her pregnancy. And because we worked in a partnership arrangement, when I was on, my partner was off, and when she was on, I was off. Probably it turned me into a binge drinker, because, when you do 100 hours on call, you had to sneak the alcohol in when you could. I drink a lot less now, it has to be said. So I did that for a while, about 4 years, I think. And then I got involved with clinical audit and research. We looked at primary cesarean section rates and found that it was very easy back then to influence the cesarean section rate by just instituting some kind of reflection or observation of practice on a weekly basis. We used to have a cesarean section audit meeting where we would look at cesarean sections that had happened that week and discuss, whether fetal blood sampling had been done or what position the woman was in. And we saw quite a significant impact on our primary cesarean section rate, because as the logic goes, if you influence your primary cesarean section rate, you'll obviously influence secondary cesarean section rates, second birth cesarean section rates. So I did that for a while, and in the meantime, I had 5 children. I've got 6 children now. We had 3 girls and 2 boys in the space of 6 years, and so my contraception advice is not very good. That's the way the story goes. And around about this time, my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and the stresses that brings to bear upon a family. Also, we were homeschooling. None of my biological children have been to school and are now, thriving at college and all that kind of stuff and pursuing their own lives. We were autonomous homeschoolers, which, in a nutshell, we just allowed the learning to come up as and when the internal motivation was there inside the children. So would I recommend it? Not sure. With my wife, probably not. Around about this time with the cancer and stuff, I decided to make a career shift and went into teaching and taught in further education for a while. To cut a very long story short, because I've already done 5 minutes, my wife died about 6.5 years ago, and that woke me up again. It kind of, as she died in my arms, I realized that life would not turn out how it should. It would only ever turn out how it does. And the truth of the matter is, this is it. My life here in front of you is the only life that I have. And I decided there and then that I would only do the things that I enjoy and can do with passion. That if I have too many days when I wake up thinking, I don't want to do this, I need to find something else to do. And that's when Birthing for Blokes was kind of, the seeds of Birthing for Blokes were planted. And that's where we are now. So that's my video for this week. Thank you.